We are presenting you with the gift that is
Forlorn.
Oh yeah, cheers.
Yo, what's cracking, peeps?
So we're gonna talk about Forlorn.
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 Project that was again meant to be
2 minutes long, probably.
yeah, short. As per usual with us two, it turned into something that was
Big.
a lot longer. This is more a collab than the other one in a sense.
Tarmey.
Yeah, but also between us coming up with it. I think you had initially had an idea of something like that, and then about 2 or 3 months later, I was like, "Yeah, why don't we not build on that idea and do this thing?" And then it kind of started. It was actually, I have to say, the first half of it, which was we shot out and. No, I'm not going to say where we shot it because I want that location to be ours. And if you know what it is, well, then that's fine. Yeah, it happened very quickly. So basically we were like, okay, what about this? What about doing a kind of nuclear fallout type of thing? And then Conor went off and did some really amazing shots out. I said to him to go out to Sally Gap. That's a pretty cool area to go out.
Yeah. Currently scavenging some locations. I was over there and I'll show you the shot on the screen now. It's a really cool landscape over there. So this is for the short film.
Big.
With the gas mask that we just bought. I think I actually have it here. Yeah, it's in the back somewhere there. So I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna go up that way. I'm near Sally Gap right now, or at Sally Gap or whatever, I don't know. Never actually been here before, so the more you know. Yeah, hopefully I find something, and yeah, the journey. Isms.
Holy shit!
Me. So yeah, I did some test shoots which will probably be on the screen right now, I'm assuming, if I remember to do them. And this is a pretty cool spot. There's possibly some places just over there where we might be able to film, but to be honest, I don't really know. I'm just getting some idea of the theme and how it looks. But yeah, it's going well. I'd advise you guys to go here. I'm sure a lot of you have been here, but wowee.
Yeah, but that was the one with the gas. Yeah, we got the gas mask. That was really
Yeah, got the gas mask.
So I'm in Fisborough and I have gas mask. So I am going to try it on, but I'm in this car park that people keep walking past, and I kind of feel like a bit of an insane man. This is probably just a lot of my self-consciousness coming up. Who cares if I'm wearing a mask? No one cares. Well, I do, but so it looks real tight, like. So I don't actually know if this is gonna fit my face. It's one of those things that you just can't not buy when you see it because of how fucking cool it looks. Okay. Coast.
Hello.
Fucking someone right at my door. Go away! Okay, you know what? That didn't work. How to get it on my face? Why is that guy there's a guy literally just standing in front of me. I don't know what he's doing. Or why he's here. Yeah, he's just loving staring in. I think he's actually staring in at me. Or maybe I'm just paranoid as fuck, which I am, so. Oh, fuck it, you only live once, put it on. Alright, we did it. Ugh.
Well, that gas mask nearly killed me
Yeah,
twice.
same with me. Because
Connor forgot, right?
I told him. I said
No,
I
you
almost
didn't.
died because this
You
thing
said
wasn't
almost,
on.
you know, but there was a thing that was
Yeah,
at the bottom.
but
that
I
you
told
had
him
to,
this.
No, you didn't.
I did tell him
You
that.
didn't.
Because I expressed how much I almost died as well, and there's a little thing on it.
Yeah, there's a thing that you have to pull.
But also, it's not my my duty to if he's putting it on, he has to be aware of his surroundings too. I could have died because I was on my own doing
Yeah,
it.
but you're the one that got it first, so it's like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I told you. I go to you. I almost died because of a thing on it.
a thing on it. But
Yeah.
what thing on it?
A little thing. Like,
Yeah, and then after that, you not think you pull the thing off?
No, because I had put my one on and then I had the spare one.
Yeah, both spares could have been used. I was the one.
But
who
either
was
way,
doing it.
before you buy, anytime you get a gas mask, don't blow into it thinking that it will not have stuff in it and it'll go all into your eyes. I couldn't see. For
I literally
2 hours
when we were putting that. When I put it on the first time, I did actually. There was a point where I was like I couldn't breathe for like about 8 seconds, and I got. Your body does a weird thing where it's like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's scary because I was I couldn't breathe, and then I was like. Yeah, great laugh.
No, I was the same. I had the exact same
So
experience.
I pulled that off and I was like, oh, there's this thing that's on the fucking yoga. And I mean, it was so fucking...
It's terrifying because it's really... Because obviously you'll see...
That's why you need someone that,
really
like...
I did it on my own. He keeps saying, you need someone... I was on my own.
You didn't
and
let
I
me finish
almost
my
died.
sentence.
And I almost died.
I almost died.
Onto your eyes, I couldn't see for
I literally...
2 hours.
When we were putting that... When I put it on
Yeah,
twice.
same with me. Because
Connor forgot.
It's terrifying because it's really... Because obviously you'll see...
That's why you need someone that,
really
like... I was going to say, if you can have someone who actually works with the props and actually checks the things and goes through...
If we had budget, we'd have many different
We don't
things
even need a
going
budget.
for us.
If you really like doing that type of stuff and you want to come out and help us out with stuff like that, so we don't die because the two of us are obviously idiots.
But the best thing as well was when I put it on initially, I had blown into it, like, and then
there was dust
all
in
the
your
dust
one.
went everywhere, and it was like it was like salt, so it was like really sore.
And even getting like the costume that like I got, like the onesie type of thing.
That was a pain. Do you know how hard it was to find a fucking hazmat suit in COVID? They were all, sold out everywhere.
And it was like
Everywhere.
also like you don't want to be looking like the yellow ones or
Yeah, you don't look like a fucking
or like you're
dope.
like Whoa,
for the sense of the film of what it is, like it would look so out there and like a store of
So looking around finding that one, actually, there's the mask over there. Go get the mask of what came with the suit. It's ridiculous.
It was
bad.
like a Halloween
It looks
thing.
like that's the. I sent you a little Snoopy Snoop.
Oh yeah.
And held the correct cocaine. Sniff, 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 sniff. Hi, it's me. Did you not realize? Oh, here we go. So this is kind of the look of it all. Just had me dinner. So yeah, I know you don't like it that way, so I'll try to do it this way. Let's see if we can go inside of the oak. Oh, do you see me there now? Hi, how's it going? Yeah, bit Sean. I think I do the job. Got to see it with the masks, so we could try that on.
Yeah. So of course, there's performance about to happen here now. That was what came with the actual suit, which was ridiculous. It looks like an elephant. Yeah, stop.
All right.
We basically said, okay, we're not gonna do what we did with audible memory. We're gonna keep it fucking really simple and a really easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to shoot in this location, and in another way, again, with nature and God or whatever you believe in, for some bizarre reason, we got absolute torrential storm, lightning. It was like...
But I feel like...
Yeah. So we go from getting caught in the tides to now getting caught in the fucking storms. There could be thunder tonight, by the way. Do you hear the way I said that? There could be thunder. Thundercats, what? I'm a very attractive young fellow, aren't I?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds like he really believes that I am. Yeah, we're gonna have to just record. Get your camera with something over it. Get the umbrella, and then we'll just go for it. We'll do a one take wonder here. All right, this is a pain in the tits. Right, I'm knocking this off. Hopefully this is as bad as the other one.
I mean, these were. I'll find the footage and put it over. This is before and after.
I'm not gonna like. Oh my god, man. Thunder came down. I was like, because that's big steel thing we were in there. I was like, and I have fucking that on my face. I was like, I don't want to be fucking getting crash for that. I'm gonna have to take this off because I'm gonna look mental walking down in that.
Oh my! It was funny as well because when we were setting up, it wasn't raining just yet.
No, it wasn't at all. That's before we'd even got there. We met our
Chairman and Mau.
Chairman Mau, the spiritual being of that whole shoot, and he would appear out of nowhere, and it was like the most aggressive looking animal you've ever seen in your life, but the most pure, loving creature.
And he had such a stance to him as well. Like,
and he was just
like this.
But the way he communicated was just amazing. So I was like, obviously I'm mad into that whole thing. When an animal or a thing happens in a moment, you're like, okay, there's a reason that's happened, because it was so like, okay, that's for sure the reason.
Hello.
Oh. That was cool.
Hello, kitty. Kitty. Ooh. Just don't go into the car, because that would make our world and your world a bit difficult.
You're a cool dude.
It's alright. That's me. Oh, that was amazing.
Where have you been all our life?
Oh, he's so chill, man.
This guy is cool.
We moved to Canada, we have to get the cat.
We have to get this lad. Get his, if he ever has any offsprings, we want them. Yeah, he's just like, dude, stop messing with it.
Like,
it's exactly like me.
Yeah.
An elephant. Yeah, stop.
Alright.
Alright, dude. We're gonna go. Alright. It's good seeing you. Hopefully see you again. We'll be regulars around these ways.
Bye. See you later, my friend. Kitty.
Alright, come on.
Here's the photo.
And so we were walking along thinking, it's okay. I said to Conor, I think it's going to lash. He's like, oh, no, I think we've missed it now. Like, put on the suit. It nearly died, obviously. That was another thing. And obviously, this is another thing, and credit to Conor in this way as well. There's only the two of us. I couldn't do anything in that suit, like, because, like...
Oh, yeah, he couldn't hear either. He couldn't... It was hard for him to hear, too. And
hard to breathe, hard to talk back, hard to do anything.
And when it's windy as well, I was like, trying to get to him.
That was difficult in that sense of like, oh God, how are we going to communicate this? So we kind of mapped out how we were going to run through the stuff, and then it just...
But I think as well, I was deciding which lens to use. I was thinking, fuck, am I going to use this?
And I was saying to you as well, like, I'm always on Conor about stuff like, do you not have a waterproof thing for the thing?
Yeah, but I had brought
and
stuff.
you did bring
and
stuff.
And it just was useless. That is actually, if there's a part in the intro where you see my umbrella hit the front of it, it's really minuscule.
Yeah.
Basically, before we started filming, I was trying to figure out which lens to use, and then I was kind of getting frustrated because it started getting windy and shit, and I was trying to put everything and like that. And then once I got it, it started to rain a little bit, and then I had all this shelter for the gear, and then I was getting really kind of
I was freaked out as well because, like, you know, he has equipment. I had this old school radio thing that you can't really see, and
I went the wrong way.
Yeah, well, look,
we're in a rush.
There's a lot of things that happen when you're like getting like you're under a time limit and
under a lot of water pressure too.
Well, no, it was crazy weather, and then it kicked off and also, I think the beautiful thing that, like, the decision to make it in, because I think afterwards you were like, okay, look at these, and I put it in black and white. I was like, no, as soon as I seen it in black and white, I was like,
yeah, because the funny thing was when we were doing it as well, I had the gimbal on initially, and then it started getting wet, so I started doing weird shit, and I just literally, we didn't film any behind the scenes because we were rushing, but I just literally fucked into a bush.
I think we got it a little bit, but there was no space to be able to do that. Okay, you can't see me, you don't know who I am. Yeah. I'm fucking in the whole onesie suit with a massive mask, but you're still acting, you know? So in that sense of the acting, you still gotta act. You still gotta be in the zone of, like, my idea was like, I'm the last guy, no one's been around, I'm going checking the things to see what's going on, if we're actually like, things are gonna get better and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, yeah, and then just the whole area, it's like really dark, everything just kind of came together.
And even the route, like, we didn't really have, like, we had a route, because so the intro scene where it goes to the title, that whole part, I was kind of not knowing what to do then. I was kind of following him, but something in us was just like, we have to do this. And he turned, I think I was like, turn, and then he turned, and then he walked on, and then once he walked on, it was kind of from there, we just basically were walking through it.
I
And
think
was
we
like,
knew as well because of the circumstances of the weather.
kind of had to get on
quick
with it, but
and follow it, and
yeah.
also trust on our
Yeah.
on our both of ourselves. So I
Yeah.
was like the same thing when we alluded to in Audible Memory behind the scenes, was like I trusted that he would be in the moment with me, and I needed to trust that he would be in the moment with me, and also like I'd stop for 2 seconds because I couldn't speak, so I'd be like, hey Connor, can we do this where I walk up along here, and then you're like, yeah, but can you walk this way around? And I'm like, okay, that's it. And we go boom, and we was like,
and it was only one and done as well.
we'll do a one take wonder here.
Because even like the rain it's real rain. Like
it's not fake
it's funny.
rain.
It's literally, and I had no mic on either, so we had to like. There's loads of things that was all. But when we came back to his house, I was watching it, and we were watching just the clips. But we were watching clips, and I was like the color of it, and I was like, oh, and I was doing it, and then I was like, hold on, and I tried a black and white.
No, black and white was
And
just
then
as soon as
we
seeing that. Was
That's
like,
why literally there was no plan to do a black and white. There was no kind of like, initial like, oh yeah, black and white will suit this kind of theme. It literally just happened out of.
But that's what,
messing around with it,
and
like,
that's what I liked about that one as well, is that we were, and it's probably what we shouldn't have done for the second half of it, but we'll get into that in a second. But the first half was just like, okay, just go and do it, and we're just going to do something, and we're going to try and not be too and the fact the weather and everything just kind of came together at the same time was pretty awesome, and the look of it I think is incredible. The second half we made some mistakes in it, so like there's not much writing in this. Obviously there's more of a kind of world and getting into the zone, and obviously then as well, so that the first half, I think basically that was what it was. It's torrential rain, it's getting in black and white. It was very in the moment.
And like we didn't write, like there's nothing written. I just remember writing up something saying guy in Dublin Wicklow Mountains with like kind of like it's like the world is different and he's alone, that kind of thing. That's where it started from. And then Gav was like, why don't we try that with a thing, and then
Yeah.
But there's not, we literally wrote nothing, so
It's just kind of that guy. And then obviously Connor, like trying to get Connor into act as well, and he wanted to act, and I was like, well look, let's see. And we had a really nice sit down talk where we talked out the whole kind of how it's going to work, where it's like I stumble across your little tent thing, and then there's a gun there, and that like you've been affected by the radiation, and it was really interesting concept that I loved how we were talking and putting it back and forth, because I really felt in that conversation in my sitting room we were listening to each other.
Yeah.
And there was no ego involved.
No.
And it was just, that's it. But yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy to be able to do everything at the same time and like organize and produce and then act in it, and then I'm trying to then motivate him and he's trying to motivate me, and it's like it's not easy, and it shouldn't be easy. Things that you want to do shouldn't be easy. The second half is where it really kind of, there's two halves to it. So there's the guys walking along, there's kind of this eerie thing of like someone's following him, but then we kind of thought it'd be interesting to flip it that he's actually stumbles across
somebody else.
Yeah.
Should me? Well, not me. That was what did I call it? Infected.
Yeah.
Something infected. Yeah.
But, so that was where things kind of got more complicated, because, and fair play to him as well. And one of the things I love about why I think he's going to be a really good actor down the line, he's getting to be a good actor, is that he's not afraid to give everything into the situation. He's not afraid to take risks, and he's also, whatever his hairstyle. And his hair was like fucking, and I was there shaving his hair and getting it ready. Obviously we made a major mistake. We thought it would be interesting, I think it was either Dylan or whoever said it, hood up, but the hood would fall down in the melee.
I didn't realise that, because I got very lost in that part and I just had no idea, and I forgot about the hood, and I had no one to be like, hood, you know what I mean? I just
because I was acting in it. I had a gas, like if I didn't have a gas mask on and I wasn't fully in this, because like with the gas mask you're literally, and then I was relying on him also to make sure that my costume was in check, and you'll see a part where it looks like I have like a penis on my head at one point, and also like we should have watered me down a little bit. that's fine. Like, that's normal because we didn't have anyone to check our props, didn't have anyone to do what we had to do.
And it was also getting very dark very quick.
Oh, that was the other thing.
Very dark, very quick.
So, like, we had this window of, like, okay, we got to shoot this really quickly because, obviously, Aoife did an amazing job on his...
Which is such a shame because it got so dark that you couldn't really see half of the makeup.
And she couldn't come down with us either, so we didn't have a makeup person on set.
It literally started falling off my fingers, and I literally was like pulling. I was like, "Fuck!" And I wanted to pull it so that way it looked natural. So like, basically like these parts were all normal skin. This is all. So it was just annoying that it was like we went through all that, and someone went through all that effort and did a really good job. And
much effort, man.
But it's it's what it is. But
and that's why we're talking about it as well, because a lot of this is kind of like a make and do type of thing. It's a kind of crafting kind of way. Even like we had Dylan in, and Dylan, I have to say, I was so impressed with how he...
It was amazing.
Before we went there, I was like, obviously you'll see the wide cam version of me. I look like a Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle because I thought I had like, I was like, look, I'm not that fat. Like I had been bedridden for 3 months, so I put on a bit of weight, but I was like, oh my God, like my hip is bad. I gotta go see someone about my hip. But we were talking, the three of us, like, okay, this, that. We need you just to be a voyeur, being in the moment.
There's a very funny part. I'll probably play it now or whatever. It was me being like, I was learning so much about being in the moment, and I was telling Dylan, because Dylan was kind of like me. He films the kind of same stuff I film, and this is like new to both of us.
I thought it was hilarious.
I got to him, Dylan. So what I learned, and Gav was listening. He was like, "Oh, that was so cool." I go, "Yeah, just don't stop until the moment's gone. Like, just go with it. And if you have to do weird angles of it, just go with it, follow it."
Well,
and then there's me when I'm acting, and then I literally go, "Fuck, stop, out of my head," and you can see it.
And it fills the space better, because if I'm in there with you.
If you make a jut or if a thing happens, it's fucking fine. It's all about the flow.
Yeah.
Alright, don't worry about like, oh fuck, I slipped or I did a thing. It might work.
Just gonna go straight.
Add to the energy of
like,
it.
What I learned from, because I was same as you when I started filming, I was like, I would like be like, oh shit, sorry. Like, just like,
don't fuck it up.
Until I go, that's it. Do you know what I mean?
If it's that bad, I'll say it.
And like, it won't even be like, you might think that I'm not in the thing or whatever, just literally until
you're making me proud.
Until I say,
hey, this week he's made me proud with acting and now with the art flow
so
moment.
it's gonna be weird. Fuck, sorry, got on my head. You're all good. Shit.
Yeah, it was funny, and it's a thing that I've talked to Conor a lot about. It happened again later on as well. It's like, you don't stop until basically either something happens. You can stop if something happens where it's like, okay,
It completely ruins.
like this isn't aligned, this isn't ready, that's not there, or just before you've started where you're like, no, it's not time. And I was saying to Conor, look, and it's something we're going to have to work on as well as time goes on, about emotional memory and using the energy beforehand of getting into the zone and then moving into the thing, instead of going, I have to go in. And he went in and he was in his head. Yeah. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
That was before, and then the next time, because I
went too far down the other side, right?
Yeah, but the funny thing was, like, when I first did, obviously you start getting really anxious, you figure out what, I think there's different ways of having like a panic kind of attack. My thing would be retching, like I go, and I can't, nothing comes out, I just retch. Yeah. So then I had this I was really anxious, but I was like in the car, so I started coughing, and I full on.
I have to say that was a great choice. But I think that I've noticed, just even from this conversation here, and it's a thing that if for all actors and for all artists and all that kind of stuff, and it's something I learned in acting school, is that you always have to have an anchor in yourself. Yeah. Especially if you're going to do really extreme roles where you're in a violent state and you're going like, and you're allowed to go into that violent state where the other actor and the director goes, okay, you can go there, and you go there. You still have to be able to, even though if you're lost in the moment, have that thing where you're like, it's almost, you have to lose yourself, but you have yourself, you're still there. You're a voyeur, and you're like, okay, you need to pull the handbrake, because you could hurt somebody if you go. You could hurt yourself, you could hurt somebody if you go too far. And not that you were going to hurt someone, but you went so far in the moment. Which was amazing, and I was eye-opening, and I was really impressed by it, and I was like, okay, there is an actor in there, because, I'm always going, you have to be natural, you got to be in the moment, you got to, and it's like, wow, he's fully in the moment. And it was a really good choice. That was a choice he made that allowed him to get into the zone. Now, flip side of that is, you can't always use physical...
always. That's
always.
Yeah, the annoying part as well, the physical, because obviously, my reaction would be to be physical, because I'm trying to acting, I'm only learning. But when I hit the ground like that, you'd think that would actually the least sore, but you see me grabbing this vine, it was all nettles.
Yeah.
And I did that, and then when I was getting up as well from the little part, it was this really sharp thing, and my finger went like this, and it was like really thick. So I basically, and then when I was walking on the floor, also all these
I just
nettles.
have memories of driving you with your face all crazy and then just constantly asking to eat the props because we had bread and
I was
tins.
so hungry.
And I was just like, dude, man, we need this. And you're just like, I need bread. Give me the bread.
I won't be moved. You want that? Yeah, thank you.
I just felt like someone that was so disadvantaged and sitting in the back like dying. I was like, please give me bread.
Dylan, in a sense.
Tarmey.
Well, I am Dylan Tarmey.
I'll do a few questions and Conor will do a few questions. So basically, how did you two guys meet?
Yeah, so I think we met on Instagram, the classic way of meeting people in our current generation.
Yeah.
It was either a case that I commented on something you made or you commented on something I made.
Oh, no, it was, I think it was yours.
Flirting in the DMs.
Yeah, I saw your picture of I'll try to get it on the screen, the one with the newspaper and the mask thing. He had a newspaper, picture of a newspaper, it was burning, and he had the mask on. And then I was like, that's fucking insane. And it made me I remember at that point, I was real, kind of like low self-esteem. So I was like, oh, this is fucking dickhead. Like, I felt real like, but I was like, no, say something nice. Say something nice. And then, and then from that, I think we both followed each other. And then.
Thank you, bro. Well, appreciate the kind words. And
it was definitely tough.
That's how it kick-started.
Didn't you still do a
Oh no! Wait, actually, before that,
yes.
There was another time. I put up on my story saying selling this lens, and then Dylan was like, "I think you were kind of hesitant at first. You were like, I might be getting that off you," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then you're like, "Yeah."
I didn't know were you going to come down and sell me a plastic tube. I didn't know. I didn't know what kind of character you were.
Drove down to him, had the lens in, and then I think that was the first. Yeah, that's the first time we saw each other in person. So neither of us were catfishing. We both looked horrendous. And we I think we just started speaking about, you were in college at that point, weren't you? In a different course.
That was like nearly 3 years ago now, was it?
Yeah.
Nearly 2.5 maybe.
Yeah, that was ages. That was
the first time we had actually met, as you said, face to face. And I remember it was still when things were taboo. Yeah. And you would just come down and because I remember you were showing me the Steadicam and everything that you had. I'd never even heard one at that point. I was like, wow. A Steadicam.
Who would have thought? What is that? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Didn't you interview Conor for something on? You had what was that?
Yeah, so I have a podcast. I have a podcast called Coffee Talk, and Conor, I think you could have been the first guest, to be honest with you, very likely. I just asked you if you minded coming on and shooting the shit because I had done a few episodes of Coffee Talk by myself during the lockdown when I really kind of started to get into that side of like making content. So I went out of my way and I went out of my way. It wasn't an ordeal. I just simply sent you a DM and I said, hey, I'd love to get on a podcast with you. And you said, yeah, sure. And then I think we ended up talking for like nearly an hour and a half, but just had a great conversation. And it was a really good chance to get to know you and for you to get to know me, I think. And I think then we kind of became a little bit more like friends, I suppose.
Same with film. Film, you can't see anything.
I'm not caught because I need to piss and I'm on like a level.
Ooh. I actually, probably going to use this for something, aren't you? That's right.
Are we back? Well, when people look at this and play it back, they're going to be like, he was about to piss himself.
I remember I just said to everything. Like, I just kept saying and I was like, man, I remember watching back, I was like, shut the fuck up. My whole habit was saying and I was like, oh.
I know the yeahs very well. Yeah.
So right now I'm struggling not to say every time you speak.
I just want to ask you then from Conor's questions, he has some questions here. Just give us like a small summary of yourself and why you started in the arts and filmmaking, editing and all that. just to give people an idea of who you are.
Well, I am Dylan Tarmey, as Galvo pointed out.
Tarmey, Dylan.
So I pretty much was in college in 2020, I want to say, after the leaving cert, the dreaded leaving cert. And I, like a lot of kids, I think just didn't know what to do with myself. Not that I know now, but I think I started watching a lot of photography and videography videos on YouTube. And I was like, that's super interesting. So I started going out, taking photos on my phone, soon got very bored of that and said, fuck it, I'm going to buy a camera. So I bought my first camera, started taking photos, and then I started to just find a love for it, I think. And then I started to find a love for posting them, which I didn't think it would materialize into, but I suppose you don't know what's going to happen until you try. So started posting, started to get to know people, met Conor through it, and then it kind of materialized into the videography side. So I started a YouTube channel, something I had always wanted to do. Started to make YouTube videos, started my podcast. I think all of it was just, I didn't really know what to do with myself. And I was like, well, this is what you do when you own a camera. You make vlogs and you make stuff and you create these things. And that started to happen. And it's brought me to where I am today, which is a 20-year-old, almost 21, in 2022.
Man.
Yeah, I keep it young. I
don't know why I thought that, but
no. I am 16. I just pretend I'm 20. So I don't get
You're like 6 foot. What height are you again? You're a tall motherfucker. You're 6'4".
I'm 6'8". So.
Oh really?
He's
actually the basketball dream still alive. Alive. So let's talk about how did you find your experience working on Forlorn?
Forlorn. The first one we shot, yeah.
Hey, wait a second.
It's just Forlorn. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you can put subtitles underneath it if you want. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I don't care. Yeah, you got the spelling correctly underneath, or you can make it like it's a lawn, but I'll still say Forlorn.
Okay.
Anyway,
just do phonetics. But yeah, exactly. Forlorn was the first one we shot. Correct?
I'll just say it in Japanese.
That was with the gas mask. That was the dark day. The dark day.
Yes. Yeah, that was something completely new to me off the bat. Again, thank you for trusting me and getting me on it, because I was super excited to be. I've never done any short film work, which is a lot different to what I would be used to, which would be like short form media or anything a bit quicker. It was very different to see how that works. It was super, super interesting to see how you guys worked. I'd never worked with actors before, or in a more creative space like that, where you're almost taking yourself out of reality in a sense and putting yourself into this new space. And like, I wasn't so much, but to see you guys doing that, it was pretty cool. I felt really euphoric after it. Felt like I had experienced something. Maybe that's how people felt like when they were watching plays when in like the 1960s and they were just chilling and watching people perform.
Still playing in the way.
Yeah. I know, but I think, look, I'm Gen Z. I have my phone on my hand. I watch YouTube all day.
Okay.
But it was great. It was really great. I didn't anticipate it to be that much fun. I'm probably sounding like I'm blowing it out of proportion, but
no, but this is your
really
experience.
Yeah, and it was great. And like you guys giving me the trust in how I wanted to shoot it, and having the different inputs and kind of collaborating together. It's really good, because I think as a filmmaker, I'll say in Ireland, there's a lot of like soul journey. You know, you don't do a lot with a team unless you're part of a production crew. So it's pretty cool to have different creative inputs on a project like that.
This is probably the downfall of the whole thing for all of us. It was the darkness, and I'm trying to think how because I know when I film and so we use autofocus. Obviously, it's the easiest way to do it when you're one man shooting. How were you affected by that? Because I know when I'm affected by autofocus, I think I go into this weird panic mode where I try to film differently and try to move back a lot and shit and get different angles like that. Because I know that part, the really unfortunate part, and the entire thing was unfortunate with the whole makeup thing. But that scene where you see me and it just goes out of focus because it's so dark and you can't see shit. Like, what were you thinking in that point? Were you freaking the fuck out? Like, I would have probably freaked out, but
yeah. It's interesting you say, because just as you guys start to speak about the darkness there, I remember it. That sounds like some plague, but I do remember it. Suicide. It felt a little bit like that. It felt a little bit like that for a second, but when I think it started to get notably dark to the point where like you were starting to see a bit of grain, and like obviously you don't want that, you know, it's just from an aesthetic perspective, you don't want it to be covered in grain and the ISO to be through the roof. So I did have a bit of a moment where I was like, what if that, as you said there, Conor, like the autofocus misses a key moment and it looks really bad. But I think there's nothing we're going to do in that situation. I kind of just resign myself to, unless God decides that he wants to shape shift the sky into eternal brightness and the entire world changes for a few minutes, we're going to be in the dark. And I think taking that as this is what's going to happen calms you down a bit, because it's not in your control anymore. You just kind of have to roll with the, what's the term? The eggs you've been given, or whatever it is.
Roll
but you know what I'm
flow,
trying to say.
The eggs you've
Yeah,
been
roll with the flow. Something.
Roll
If you're
the
handed
eggs
a
we
basket
give.
of
That's the name
eggs-
we're
It's getting worse, but we're going.
But
yeah, exactly. If you're handed a basket of eggs and one is broken, you're going to take the basket, you know?
And
Okay.
even at that, what you're saying with the grain and ISO, like that, in a sense, which happens to me and Galvo a lot apparently, is that it kind of adds to it. Like when we were doing that and the grain came up and I was editing the whole thing and it's supposed to be in color, and we changed it to black and white, that grain actually kind of gave it this kind of, I don't know, this character to it. Like it actually helped shift it. So I remember saying to you, I think when we were doing the last scene, when I was like having to cough and just walk out onto it, I was like, don't worry about it. You were asking me about the ISO and I was like, man, just if you need to pump it up. Oops.
And I think that helped me, because with me knowing you were happy with what it looked like, I was like, look, well then we just roll with it. And you know, I think as well, Galvo, you kind of drove that home in the day as well. Like in a way, whatever happens, happens. You know, it's going to happen the way it's going to happen, and it worked out for the best. So I do think 9 times out of 10, things do work out for the best. So thankfully, in that regard.
And when we're doing the final scene, Galvo, you're going to need to come out quite far because it's getting so dark. It's not going to pull focus. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
How's it look?
Like it's dark. See, it wasn't picking up your face because it's too dark. If it's getting that bad, we can try my camera. Just switch.
Because we got over the thing, we not just go to a different spot, or like kind of go maybe further down. That way it looks like we've just been over the thing. Or
I wouldn't mind shooting from like here, Connor.
here? Okay, go on, yeah.
Just because I've got a clear walk, you've got a clear
So I'll
walk.
probably fall somewhere around there, like near that tree or something.
Am I going to see anything in here though?
That's what I don't think we will. I don't think he's gonna see anything, man.
Nah, I won't see you there at all.
No.
Yeah, actually blend in.
So I can probably come out of this then. Like this. That's kind of the same thing. I suppose going up, remember I was going up. So then you can just be there maybe. And then I'm just going up like that. And then I just trip and fall like that. Oh, that's actual human dog shit. That was so close.
Did you put your hand in it? Oh, bro.
Fucking hell. That would've been
Right.
super mad.
Because like obviously we met when Conor was getting the makeup, and then we came out into this little forest place and stuff like that. Were you nervous? Did you just go, fuck it, I'm just going to go with this? Because you seem to be the one thing I will say, all 3 of us in this, we were all in it together.
Yeah.
You know, we were very connected, and it was but how did you feel pre that?
Yeah, I was pretty well. Like I hadn't actually met you yet, Galvo, and I was like, it's very rare that I'm up that side of town. So in itself, driving up that far for me was a bit of a thing. And like naturally, I think I'm an anxious enough person, so I do tend to build up a lot of anxieties around these things. So I'll be like, no, not to a severe extent that I think I'm going to get a drive-by shooting on the way up, but I will catastrophize a bit. So I think when I got up there, and then instantly I kind of snapped to a bit of like, oh, this is happening, and Galvo isn't a murderer, and Conor is a nice guy, and I remember these things, and then I come back to life, and I'm like,
not the nice guy.
but I remember, and then I come back to this form where I'm like, everything's fine, and this is great. And like when we were in the woods, as we were starting to set stuff up, I definitely did have a little bit of like, fuck, I hope I can actually do this.
And you just put it on your head for a bit.
Trying to go on top of the everything that I've on my head, or
Whatever you feel comfortable with. So it's your head.
Why does it look like an Australian miner?
Does it? How does it look? Does it do the job?
Hello. Okay, so if you hold this off here,
Take
and
a
then
little
let's
bit
pretend
more
we're doing
outside
filming.
for
So
being here.
if I'm walking this way,
Conor.
right.
I got right.
Alright, cool. And then I'm like this, and
Right, let me get behind you so I can follow
mind if I
you.
just move it?
Yeah. Go
Wait,
for it.
just like that. Yeah, that'll probably be better. So what I did, I just to see what it looks like from behind, dude. And then I go, hold on a minute, I have an idea. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a big pool of self-doubt. I'd never done it before. And
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't classify myself as an A grade DP. I'd never DP'd a project before. So all of those little things. But again, I think I'm quite good at displacing that in the moment, because realistically, I can sit there and have a cry and worry myself into a little knot, but it's not going to help. So I think it gets to a time when you have to cock back the rifle and run straight on at the troops.
There's a question here that's on Conor's list. So of that day of the shooting on the film that I can't pronounce correctly,
Forlorn.
would there be anything that you would change? And if so, what would you change? If you could go back and go, okay, look, what could I do here? Not personally yourself, but just in general with the whole thing that was done that day.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think it all happened. I think it all, not to be blunt, but I think it all happened as it was supposed to happen. Like, again, we say the darkness was the plague that came after us that day, but again, it worked out in our favor and it added to the scene. So I don't think I'd change anything, to be honest. I think it worked out pretty well.
Actually, I'm going to cut in there, Tony, because I'm halfway done. I'm more than halfway editing the behind the scenes, and I was looking through all the clips, and there's parts where all of us just don't stop talking, and it's getting progressively more dark. And I know we're planning, and I remember being like, no, this is good. But then I was like, at one point, I remember, we're like, okay, ready to go, and then someone's like, butts in, and it's great because we're all in this little kind of thing. But there definitely could have been less of that near the end of it, for sure, because I remember watching it, and like, I'll probably have it all here on the screen. But
scurry back,
and
as you're scurrying back, bang.
And then what they're walking off into the thing, get him out of frame kind of a little bit, because if you whatever you might laugh, whatever. Straight away when he's down, after I do the thing, it's almost like I'm focusing and I'll go into the darkness.
And make when you shoot the gun, do we want it to look? Well, shoot.
It's not too bad because we'll probably just go black screen anyway. So
just as it.
Let's have a look at it and see what it looks like. This looks cool.
Still, if I'm like this,
Yep.
So if you're going to be behind.
So let's do it. Like, I'm going to be here, okay?
Yeah. So I'm crawling.
Yep.
And then I start to trot again.
And then I could even do that.
Yeah.
Would you like if I just tipped you?
So that way I know that.
So so I'll come close. I'll just kind of like tip you. You'll know I'm coming. Drop down. Yeah.
Take your time.
Rolling. Perfect.
Turn around. And then
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
That's good.
And then
if you just kick me, that's perfect.
Wait for me to go like that.
Yeah.
And then your head goes.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk off and you can follow me off.
Alright.
But get his head in the frame, because if I'm just like that with
shooting on nothing, it's fake.
It fucking doesn't mean
just like
anything.
like have the thing like that.
I'm gonna need to get super down like that underneath you, and then and Galvo, when you shoot it as well, if you kind of cock back.
Wait a second. Wait a second, because just so that you have it.
Yeah.
If you can even like say something.
I'll just literally give you I'll give like a definite nod.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, kind of put like as if it's kicking you back.
Yeah, like that.
Just to sell it fully. Right, where do we come out of? But no, it looks really good.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to move it now. It looks sick.
Happy days, boys.
So yeah, just give him a little tap on the leg.
Yeah.
That's what so
tip
tap
your
on the
foot.
leg is basically when I stumble and
when
fall,
you,
is it? And then
so
I
that tap on your leg is...
We'll hold the moment. It's almost as if you've had you see the gun, but we'll hold the moment where you're looking at me and you're looking at the gun, and then it gives him a chance to get the angle of your head.
Yeah.
And so when I coil,
your
head goes, right?
Okay, go. And so when you hit me in the leg...
I did in the GoPro, I went with
that's the recording. That's been going for ages.
But again, as you said, it probably wouldn't have came out the way it did if you didn't have those discussions. So I don't know.
Well, it's good in a way, because I could have been super awkward and not said anything, and it could have been so tense and so uncomfortable.
That's very true.
I could have started crying. Who knew? So maybe
it
worked out in a better way.
I don't want to be here right now.
Greg, the cameraman is crying. Yeah. This is really working out well. He's gotten so well into it, he's crying.
This happens all the time. We just swap roles.
Who's this fucking... Oh, Jesus. Right, so the last thing is more of a tongue-in-cheek question for me. So when we were shooting the last scenes where Conor's on the ground and I kicked him...
For fuck's sake, and it's going...
Oh. I thought you said look up.
Oh, fucking cramp, boys.
Now, was this the the first take we did of the last
But
scene.
it's one where I kick him and he goes and puts his thumbs up in the air like he's just won the World Cup.
I feel like I was so in the moment, and I'm so focused on looking at that little screen. I don't really perceive what's happening outside of it. Like Conor giving the thumbs up, I was like, okay, we're done. I didn't think into the fact that that scene might have needed to be held a fraction of a second longer. And then I think afterwards you kind of explain, and you're kind of like, why did you do it that early? Then I can understand that it would have been better to stay in character until we cut. Where
from my perspective, like this was the last scene, and I remember I think there's a part where like we have to do that point I think like 4 times over, that one where I remember I ran across and I went onto the ground.
Okay.
I just
all good.
And I had to go like, okay, give me a minute to cough again. And when you kicked me, I was like, yes, we're done. So I put my hands up like that, and I was like, yes, because I thought he was kicking me to be like, well done, man. But obviously, it was to ensure my body was not alive.
No, it was a good laugh.
It's me that says cut, or you that says Conor Galvo, or one of us. But exactly, it worked out for the best. No one died, and it looks good.
It's funny because it's in some ways like it's Conor's first acting. I presume it's the very first acting thing you've done. And then obviously, as you alluded to, Tarmey, Dylan, that's the first time you DP'd a short film. So everybody was kind of like in there, you learn these things, you're learning what it is. Okay, so.
Ideally, we would have had like a lot earlier, we would have had more time. Yeah. And not on a weekend as well, because when you're shooting in public places on weekends, it's like full of people.
Yeah, because Dylan's only free on weekends, and we are kind of free most of the time. So we were like hoping to be weekday, and we get a lot more time out of it. But obviously, the way it all worked, it was really tight, like schedule, and there's a lot of things in the.
I don't want to do that again either. No. Like it's a lot of stuff to be taking on, but also I think it's an amazing thing that if you can do all of those things, then when you do get to a feature and you have everyone helping you out, you should be able to I've done all of this stuff before. This is not a hassle to me. That's my idea, is that like you
hopefully.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe we'll never get
you
there.
Go to a set and we're just like, you're trying to do everything at once. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I also thought it was interesting, the way I was just being in the moment, shaking the thing, because I was like, this thing isn't working. I was just, whatever. And then it's kind of like, well, that's broken now. Who gives a fuck? But then it kind of replaces that I get a gun off you and that kind of thing. Obviously, that sequence where we're looking for the gun, I don't think we got it. I don't think we captured the attention of it. I don't think we...
Unless you know what it is, it's hard to make out why I'm crying and hitting the floor.
Yeah, because what we explained, and what I explained to Conor is that that's your life. Yeah. That's what's protecting you from whatever he's out in the wild. So like there's wildlife. It's to get like the protection against me or people like me, because in them kind of post-apocalypse world, no one's your friend.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing, and then
there were some parts like that were just annoying. Like you obviously were like, I wish we could have just did it.
We had the idea right,
but
we didn't execute the idea right, and I think that's also because time was like really, and
really
we were really kind of maybe a little bit too hard on ourselves, in the sense we're not going to do a long one. It's going to be really short. We're going to do, and also. You were like conscious when you were acting. It's the first acting job that you did, and it was like that for that alone, I realized then you have to give him more time. You have to put more time into the prep of it. And I thought, he needs more practice. Yeah. He needs a lot more practice for stuff. But then I was really proud of you that you just kind of went into the moment. The only thing that annoyed me, and there's another part, is that there's a part hopefully now that you're going to edit where.
Oh, the little drop,
we didn't have the timing right, and if you had someone there that was kind of outside of it, they could have gone, oh yeah, look, you need to, because when you're doing films, you have an AD that will, with extras or whoever, they'll go, okay, now. Yeah. And because we were in the moment, the two of us, and trying to get the shot, and it's getting dark, and
there's actually a clip I put in as well. When it took me two tries to do the screaming part, whatever. But the second try, that was like the one I got. I remember I was coughing, and then Galvo was over there, and I was rolling, and Dylan was filming, and then he goes, go, and I go, I know, and I like that because I was really glad, and I was like, it kind of put me off. But you can actually see, so that I kind of cut it to the point because, you know, obviously the guy didn't know I was rolling and probably didn't know probably thought I was just coughing. I was like, no, I was really.
Well, you didn't tell me you were going to cough, or you didn't tell me what was going on, so I didn't know. That was the other thing, and I have the fucking mask on, and I'm trying to take the mask off, and
Which
then.
is funny because you can just see me like this. I'm like, yes, I know, and then I'm like coughing, and then
it
literally so close to throwing me off, but then I was like, boom,
we'll put the person where we got the sound from, and I just thought like, okay, look. A lot of people complain about Irishness and stuff like that. Oh, no one's ever going to drop a bomb on us or whatever. But it's not about that. It's about like, we're Irish.
Yeah.
We're not American. We're not from England. We're going to make as much as we can stories that are based here and based around where we're at. So I thought like, okay, we'll look online, and I found that, and the person again was very gracious to allow us to use it, and I think,
really added to it.
I think it really does add to it a lot. I think it's a really interesting thing.
You don't hear that. Like, I've never heard that.
No, you
before.
never hear anything about Ireland and all that kind of stuff. We kind of play ourselves down because we're out in the middle of nowhere, like, you know what I mean? But
straight for war for us. But yeah, it was cool because that sound and that intro, like that intro clip is my favorite, and that intro sound and that part where he turns around, he breathes. That's like the best part, I think, of the whole thing, personally for me anyway. But just that sound and that, you know, Irish kind of feel of it, it's kind of cool, you know,
and it's different, and it's like a lot of people, I think, it's a weird thing, but I grew up like, people are ashamed of being Irish in a sense that we're not cool. We're like the coolest fucking nation in the world. Like, we got charm, we got banter, we can talk anyone off a table or chair or whatever. We have a lot of cool things. We're highly dysfunctional because we're only a few generations removed from a famine. And occupation from a foreign nation. We're going off into a whole world.
That's low batteries. This is probably time too.
Yeah, it's time to cut that one.
Booby.
My arms is getting sore.
Poor Galvo.